All right, let's see now. Got an excellent connection, got some people, connected viewers. Yes, excellent. All right, I think I'm set up here. Got something to drink. If anyone's on, let me know if I'm sounding okay. And I might get started. Yeah, we got a healthy stream. Stream settings. Yep, we're good. Cool. No. Change dashboard. Analytics. All right. Sounds good. Greetings from Cape Town, South. Wow, South Africa tonight. Hey Campbell, how's it going? All right, so this is where we left it last night. It's probably the most intense commission I've done for a while. All right, so what are we going to be doing tonight? Well, I think we're going to be working on shading and effects. So I'll just start with some easy stuff. Okay. Now, there's one thing that I know is going to be slightly problematic, and that is that this bit here between the sleeve and the hair and the sword, it's got a holdout material, which means that it will knock out anything between it and the background, well, at least on its layer. And so if I was going to put a background in, I wouldn't put it on this layer, I'd actually put it on another layer. Now let's see, I'm going to enable scene lights in both this viewport and this viewport. And why don't we turn off transparent? And why don't we turn off the grid? Yeah, so this is our view of what we're going to have as a finished image, I think. I can see some couple of things here. I might need just a touch of fixing. Right, I think that's on the mask and not. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so we'll just fix up the mask there, and then we'll fix up the coloring. The coloring can go out of bounds because the mask is what's important. I think I saw a little, yep, there we go. A little something here. It just needs a bit of touching up. Okay. Up a little bit more. Right. Yeah, because I want this to be as clean as possible before I begin to add all the effects and stuff. So tonight, I think we're going to not sort of tinker too much with all the colors and inks and stuff like that. We're going to begin the effects process because I think everything is pretty clean. The flats, the oh, hello. Let's bring that in there and bring that in. No, not too much. How's that? Yep, that's pretty clean. Okay, should we get a background in here? I think we should. All right. So the way I do backgrounds is pretty simple. Okay. So what I'm going to do is first let's darken this background up. Let's bring this into the darker grays. Now, because he's got grey skin, I'm going to go with sort of a warm grey or cool grey. look, I'll start with a warm grey. This can always be changed. All right. And now we're going to, all right, I'm going to side view, numpad 3. Ah, yes, of course, I've got to bring my screencast keys up. There's my screencast keys. Beautiful. Welcome, everybody. Let's see, is it, oh, it's still early, so still got some people coming in. Probably just listening away, having this on in the background. Kelly, how's it going? Paul keeps the party going. Good. I'm glad you're here, Kelly. I'm glad you're here because this is the guy that I'm doing yeah. We've been meaning to do this one for a while, haven't we, Kelly? All right, so inside view, I'm just bringing that cursor all the way back there and then back in front view, or even in camera view. It doesn't really matter because the cursor is behind the main grease pencil. Now, do you see how this little bit here knocks out that section, but the grid we see everywhere else? This means that the holdout is working on this particular layer. Now, it means that anything that we put on this layer is also going to be knocked out by the holdout material. So what we have to do if we want a background that shows through, we have to put it on another grease pencil object. Okay, oh, I hope that bump didn't mess anything up. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to check my mic levels here. 2222222. Okay, nothing seems to be distorting. Alrighty, we're good. Yep. Sorry about that. Trying to get it closer to my head and give myself some arm room on the desk. Right, so where was I? Yes, okay. So this grease pencil object has got some holdout here so that I could fill in a mask, and then the holdout is punching a hole in that mask. But anything we put on this particular grease pencil layer is also going to be punched out. So we need to create a second grease pencil object for some background stuff, right? And that's going to sit behind this grease pencil object. So I'm going to shift A, grease pencil, blank. Okay, I'm going to call this, why have I always got caps lock on? Background. Now, the order in the collection doesn't really matter, but the order in 3D space does. And in order to make a really cool background, first off, we're going to need a new layer on this. So, new layer. Let's call this clouds. Yeah, let's go there. Ah, now we're getting the party started. 10 concurrent viewers, got a few playbacks. Let's see if we can get up to the old 50s and 60s here. Oh, of course, someone drops off. There we are. Yeah. Okay, so we got this clouds background on this background grease pencil. I've got this draw thing, but we don't have any texture brushes. Now, a little secret here, if people didn't know this already about grease pencil, I'm going to go to Edit Preferences. I'm just going to type in grease pencil. Now, I've already enabled this, but there's this inbuilt add-on called Object Grease Pencil Tools. And if you enable this, you get a special little something when you go to the brushes. Let's go to Tool here, right? If we've got brush specials, right? And underneath, when you enable that add-on, we go download and import texture brush pack. And by clicking on that, you suddenly get a bunch of these awesome preset texture brushes. So we've got this nice cloud, a spray, some stone, sketchy lines, and all that sort of stuff. I think I'm going to use the clouds, right? Now, the radius isn't that great, so I'm going to bump that right up. Nice, and you know what? Should I go for 2000? Let's go for 2000. Sure. And look, let's just test this out in front view. Shall we do it in front view first? Yeah. And I'll just take off that grid here. And when we paint, you can see that we get this sort of nice splattery cloud brush. And you see here, in this area where there's the holdout material on this layer, right, we can now see the clouds. Now, I'm going to look through the camera by hitting numpad 0 so that we can add clouds where we need them. And that's basically to have this kind of silhouette, I guess, of the character, right? Because there's going to be a lot of power here, right? Let's throw that on like this, right? So that's looking pretty good. I like that. We can always just change the color a little bit. So I'm just going to go with a darker shade and maybe a lower strength even. Let's see what happens. And let's bring this in. Okay, so we can actually, no, not on that side, but on the, yeah, there. All right. And so this way we can get some really nice texturing on the background. But I'm going to do an extra little something for you guys, which is going to be a little bit mind-blowing. What I like about these brushes, am I using 2.93 LTS or another version? I'm using 2.93 LTS. Yes, I am. Here, look, I shall prove it to you. Splash screen, I've downloaded the latest update, which is the 0.1, right? So, yeah, they do a lot of bug fixes on this. Just going to save my work here. Yeah. Because, like, the grease pencil objects in the later versions, like, it's just getting better and better. And by the time 3 rolls out, which has now been postponed for various reasons, and look, it's understandable. They're pretty busy over there at the Institute. It's been postponed till October. They sadly had to cancel the conference this year, which was really, really bad. Windows, Mac, Linux, I ask because some plugins are not consistent across all platforms. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm on Windows. Windows seems to be like the one that everything just seems to work fine on. I do have a Mac and I've got Blender loaded on that, but I don't tend to use it because I'm, well, number one, I'm in lockdown, and number two, I've sort of beefed up this system for my workstation, and because I'm actually working Grease Pencil a lot, yeah, everything is kind of Windows based. So yes, look, 2.93 should be consistent across Windows, Mac, Linux. The best thing you could do is go to the Blender site, and under the like change logs and things like that, you should take a look at what changes they've made, and they sometimes have specific changes for platform. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to continue to work here. Right, so I've got these lovely clouds, and what I can do is I can drop down the opacity, I can increase the opacity. But why don't we do something a little bit extra? I got a Mac and I got 3D Comic plugin, but it's not Mac friendly, only Windows. Oh no, that sucks. That's a shame. 3D Comic plugin, huh? Interesting. Okay, so if we swing around in 3D view, check that out, right? Textures operate in 3D space, right? So those clouds are really cloudy, but we only really need to see those ones. I mean, if you really want, right, because it's set to, well, we should be setting it to 3D cursor and front, and we can bump that right up. We can, oh, boom, boom, white. Okay. We can fill that in if we're real purists here, right? And, you know, this nice cloudy background, right? This is painting in 3D space, guys, right? But from the front, from the camera angle, it looks fine. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add some lighting. Lighting is a really fast way of getting some shading in here, almost like an airbrush. So with the cursor over here, I'm going to go Shift A light. And I like to use point lights because they seem to work a lot easier than any of the other lights because they sort of like have a nice glow from a radius. And I'm going to bump up that power maybe to about 500. And why don't we give this a nice sort of a bluish tinge? Might make this radius quite large so that we can see the lamp. So you see that orange circle there? That's the lamp. And so if I go grab G key, Y in the Y direction, as soon as I move that in front, you see how it looks like, you know, almost like lightning is shining through those clouds. Now, if I put it in front of the character, it's going to glow on the character. And this is because if we go to our background grease pencil, it's using lights. All right. Now, if I untick use lights on that layer, the light won't affect it at all. So by default, the use lights is on. Okay. And now if I look through my camera with my point light selected, I hit the G key and I move this around. Now I can make this glow go somewhere where we really, really want it to. And so like around behind the head's probably a really good idea. I'm going to hit G and Y so it moves closer, right? Now you see that when it goes over the character, we sort of got this nice airbrush, right? We're going to do something with that in a little bit. Right now, I just want to have the clouds glow and maybe might drop down the strength a little bit. Okay. So we can get some nice variation. Shift D. And we're definitely going to need some around the sword, aren't we? Because this sword is going to be magical, according to Kelly at least. So, all right, so we got some lights there. They're looking quite cool. We might put a different color here. We might give it a warmer tone on this side. You know, the old teal and orange trick. Oh boy, that's an old one. But this, if we just sort of keep it between the character and the clouds, right? And now what we can do is move all of these lights into its own collection. So I'm going to go point, shift select point in the collection here. And in the 3D viewport, if I hit M, right, I go new collection. I'll call this lighting. Yep, again, caps lock. Lighting. There we go. Right, so now it's its own collection. So this we could switch this on and off. So if we want to see the effect, we have it on. And if we don't, we have it off, right? But this is going to render because we've got the little disable in renders window, the little camera icon on. If we tick that and it's an X, right, that means that the it'll disable it in renders. You won't actually see those lights. So let's have those lights off for now, just so they're not so distracting. We've got a nice background going. And now what we're going to need to do is figure out a light source. And I think the light is going to be coming off the sword, right? Because the sword is magical, so it's going to be glowing in this direction. It's going to be glowing on his face, on his hair, on his armor, all that sort of stuff. Now we can begin to have that glow work by maybe selecting one of these lights. Let's select this one because it's a nice blue shade. I'm going to duplicate it, Shift D, and grab that in the Y direction so it's above the character. That's how we know, right? So now we can maybe even grab and bring it out a little bit more. So now we've got this nice glow on the sword. I'm going to Shift D again. I'm going to have a nice glow on the face, right? And so this is sort of like the airbrushing component, right? And already we're starting to get some really interesting lighting. Okay. But it definitely is like it's lighting a flat surface, right? We're sort of getting a nice glow in there, certainly. This is very nice. Okay. Should we get something around here? Now, you know what? Over here, under the cape, I'm going to duplicate this peachy one. Shift D, grab. Okay, so we get a nice kind of a red tone here. If I pull that back and I crank up that power a little bit more, maybe even crank up the radius. The larger you give a point light radius, the more diffuse the light is, unless it's really, really close. Like you can see that that center of the point is really close. And so we're going to pull that back. So we've got a nice kind of a, what is it, like an airbrush type thing. Now, if we don't want to see the lights, but we want to see the effect of the lights, we can come up here, go show overlays. Let's see now. Oh, actually, viewport gizmos. No, actually overlays. And let's see, we go extras. Right. But will things still be selectable? Let's see. Yes, they are. Right. So we've turned off extras. Right. The extras are basically any objects. They'll sort of like show where they are. So we're going to switch those off under objects. Right. And now we can see the glow of the lights, but we won't be hindered by them. So now we're going to go back to our rake grease pencil object over here, and over the flats, add another layer, double click on that. I'm going to call this shading, and I'm going to show you the quick and dirty shading method that I like to use. First off, we're going to have to add a mask, so we can either click on the mask here or the mask button over here, use mask. This will automatically click. And we're going to add the mask layer. So anything we add to the shading will be masked by this mask layer, which we know is pretty much this outline. So shading, everything else is locked off except for shading. Great. If we go into draw mode, right, why don't we go into ink pen, and instead of solid stroke, we will use solid fill. Are you having fun, Paul? Of course I am, Kelly. This is amazing. I saw this meme today, Kelly, that is so tonight. Right? And it's like, what do artists do when they're not drawing? They draw something else. I think that was the joke. And yeah, so I've been drawing all day. I've been doing a lot of concepting. And I was actually looking forward to tonight. I was really looking forward to jumping into this. I was thinking, oh yes, this is the fun bit. This is the business end. This is where I get to do some effects and shading and lightning and blah blah blah. So everything tonight is adding the details to this already pretty awesome piece. Kelly, are you liking the direction that this commission is going? I really want to know that it's turning out something that you kind of like. All right, so now why don't we get on to the shading? So we've got that shading there. Right, the way I do it, my quick and dirty shading is simply with black. So I'm going to go down to here where I've put my color. And I go, let's bring this down even further because we don't need that timeline, do we? And I'm going to switch these colors over by hitting this little rotate. And I'm even going to add the black to my rake palette. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that, Kelly. I'm really trying to do justice to this character, and so I'm really hoping I am. Okay, so with my black, under shading, I'm going to drop this opacity, and I'm going to untick use lights to begin with, because I think the lights are going to really interact in not such a great way. Now I'm going to bring that opacity down. Let's start with a 0.5. Now I'm going to show you what this does. Okay, solid fill, right? Black, strength of 100. That's important. If I do a circle like that, do you see how the opacity here isn't 100%? So we're sort of getting a nice shading thing. But what happens is that, like, if we get shading over a bunch of different tones, it basically drops down the value of all those tones. And so it's a fast way of shading. Now, the more subtle way is to take those colors and pick a deeper tone and put that on the shading. But to begin with, just using black will get us to sort of where we want to be. So I'm just going to undo those two steps. And let's see, what's this? Brad asks, "Hi Paul, what do you think about a career change from engineer to a beginner 2D artist?" Engineer? What kind of engineer, man? It's sort of interesting. While I'm drawing here, 2D artist. Look, I'm going to tell you one thing, and that is that art or any kind of creative field, it's a hustle. And by hustle, I mean that you are constantly having to seek out work and impress people. Okay, so I think I was having this discussion with my wife tonight. Look, if it's something that you're passionate about, yeah, go ahead and try it out. But look, the old adage, "Don't quit your day job," is more than just a way to, people like to say, "I don't think you're good at the other thing." They don't get to say that. But you do need a source of income. It's truer than I like to admit, Kelly. Yes, it is a constant hustle. And by hustle, I mean, if you're freelancing, I'll tell you this. You need to start off with a couple of stock clients. You need to have that steady income first, so that as things progress, you can continue to build on that income. Because, um, look, a back of the envelope calculation, expect to work, and this is a good year, about half the year, 6 months out of any calendar year. What I mean by that is, while I'm talking, I'm just going to clean up a couple of spotted areas that I found. What I mean by that is that you have to make enough in 6 months to sustain you for the off months. Now, if you can get full-time work as some kind of artist, that is amazing. All right? Always go for that. There are always companies on the lookout, and I've been fortunate enough that in this weird COVID time, I've had enough of a contact base to lean on. Now, I happen to be represented by an agency, and so if times get tough, I can always sort of email my agency and just go, "Hey, is anyone looking for someone with my skill set?" And more often than not, that sort of fills in the gaps. I'm also in another fortunate position, and that is, my wife is the main earner in our relationship, in our household. And what's good and bad about that is that because I am the main caregiver with my kids, I have to choose very carefully what work I do, or what I intend to do. And so in the past few months, because I've had kids at school, and I've had to be taking care of homework and things like that, on-site work has not really been an option. And so I've had to say no to a lot of on-site work, or if the client is willing to allow me to work remotely, I've had to sort of waive any studio fees that my agent would tack on to their charge. Has to weigh commissions, whether a client will be a long-time employer that will keep coming back to give him work. Yes. Yes, that's very well put. At the moment, I'm lucky that I have such a client. To riff off what Kelly's saying here. I'm currently doing some concept work for CG Cookie, which is fantastic. I got this work through a contact who also happens to work for CG Cookie. He happens to be local, and he sort of put a shout out close by, and he sort of knew of my work in concept and comics and so on. And he said, "Oh look, they're looking for someone with your skills. Do you want to shoot this guy an email? See what you think." And look, it wasn't a done deal straight away. I'd like to say it was. I'm in a unique position that I've been around for a while, and I've made a lot of contacts. So when you reach out to certain people, and you say, "Hey, I'm so and so, and I want to throw you my resume or whatever," they generally know who I am, and it still stuns me. Like I gotta be honest, right? When I apply like anyone else would apply for a job, and when they go, "Oh yes, I know your work. This is really cool. We've been meaning to work together for ages, and now we've got an opportunity." Those sorts of relationships are always fun, and I just happen to be lucky to be in such a working relationship right now. Um, but should I get back to this commission, or do you want to hear more of my war stories? I wanted to quickly talk about lighting direction. Because we have the light sort of coming off the sword, and so it's going to be lighting this side of his face, and so we've got to figure out where the shadows are going to be. What is going to cast what shadows? And I'm pretty sure I've taken my liberty to throw in some shadows here. This side of the neck is going to be lit, but this side of the nose is obviously going to cast a bit of a shadow here. You stay on your grind, Paul, so you... Thanks, Kelly. I really appreciate that. Found a little flats problem here. Let's zoom in here and get this. Oh, I know what this color scheme is suddenly reminding me of. And by no way am I suggesting that this is derivative, but growing up as a kid, there was a show called Ulysses 31, and the aliens aboard Ulysses' ship kind of looked like this guy. They were very cool. Let's just say that. All right, where was I? Shading, yes. So it's coming off the sword. It's going to be coming up from the bottom right. So this is going to be an interesting lighting situation. I know that this side of the nose is going to be shaded, and it's going to be throwing some shade across the face. So, look, I'm just going to drop that radius even lower. I don't want it exactly... Okay, so we got... boy, this is really... Okay. There we go. Pull that up. There. Okay, so that's shadow number one. Obviously, this is going to be in shadow as well. This is really weird. I'm getting lag on my computer. I'm just going to make sure that I've got as much off as possible. Okay, and I might jump into material mode. I'll see if this runs a little bit faster. Okay. Now I'm going to turn off that stabilized stroke altogether. See if we get any better. Slightly better. All right. There we go. So shading is basically looking at light direction and working with that light direction. But unlike painting in Photoshop, we are quite literally drawing out shapes. Now, I think this hair is going to be casting a bit of a shadow as well. Not much of one, because it might actually end up going under the hair a little bit. Definitely on this side of the lip. There we go. Might be lighting a bit of this. There we go. Okay, he's starting to look good. Let's go in with the hair, because the hair is definitely going to... Now, why am I... Okay, we're streaming quite quickly, which is great. But I'm wondering if it's causing a bit of a lag on this. I'm just going to save my projects. Do I have anything else open besides that? Well, I need the live stream on. I need the OBS on, because that's the streaming software. All right, so let's try this. Draw. Computer seems to be humming very, very loudly. Oh, there we go. Now we're going a little bit smoother. Okay, I think I can have that smooth on again. Smooth, stabilized stroke. Bring that back to 20, because we want some nice smooth lines. There we go. Hello, Girage. Welcome back. Actually, I might just pause Dropbox. Maybe that's what's making it all lag, because I'm not getting a very clean line here. I keep having to adjust everything. Yes, welcome back, Girage. We're doing the effects and the lighting tonight. So this is the fun part. It's the part where it really begins to gain a lot of personality, right? Yeah, we've got some gaps here, but I really want to get moving with this, and it's kind of laggy on my machine. Damn. Okay, so I'm going to put in a shape here. There we go. Right, that's going to be dark there. Definitely going to have some darkness on this side of the head, but I want to kind of leave a bit of a halo to say that, okay, there's a bit of backlighting going on. Boy, it's really lagging for some reason. What's going on, computer? There we go. Ooh, I really did the texture in the background. Yes, yes. When you'll have to go back and look at the beginning of the live stream. I downloaded some texture brushes. So yes, that's not fully hand drawn. It is a textured background. The texture brushes are available freely with a grease pencil add-on that comes preloaded in Blender. So look, I'll quickly show you where it is. Okay, under brushes. Okay, so look, I'll just quickly do this for your benefit. Under preferences, you go to add-ons and you look up object grease pencil tools and you enable that. And then when you go to any brush setting in drawing, right, brush specials, download import texture brush pack. That's going to give you a free extra brush pack that gets loaded on. You've got a number of preset texture brushes already there, and yeah, look, they're just going to save with whatever file you're working in, which is yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so I kind of wish that this wasn't as laggy as it is. Maybe if we go into solid, or maybe the background is what's causing it a bit of... Yeah, let's just go. Let's turn off the lighting. Okay, there we go. The lights in the background, everything was really making it lag. So we're going to have to work with just this. I'm going to switch off the background for now. I'm going to disable the lighting so that we can quickly get these shadows in. All right, because now I can work faster. Stroke. Let's bump that up. Okay, good. That's better. All right. Because what we want to do is we sort of know where the light's coming from now. And so we can get a bit of that contouring to really work for us. Okay. This is where the hair starts to take on a really good anime feel. Oh, hello. Got a bit of a wrong flatting there. I think we're going to have to get that gold color. How about we do this? We go switch, eyedropper, bang. There we go. Solid fill. Yep. Okay, good. Oh, hang on. Flats. Fill in this gold color. Oh, is that right? Yes, it is. Yes, excellent. Good. Lock that off. Go back to shading. Switch that back to black. Excellent. Okay, so we've got that black in there, and this is going to be filled in as well. Excellent. Great. Okay. So now we just is a matter of filling in the shadows where we sort of see the shadows, well, needing to be filled in. And so things like this take a little time, but they're so worthwhile and they're so worth doing correctly. So I'm just going to do something a little bit loose and not exactly accurate. But it's going to give that extra bit of dimension to this armor plating. We're going to sort of get the impression that these bits are sort of like off each other's surfaces. There we go. Boy, this is going to look great on a speed paint, isn't it? Okay, let's dump that in there. Yep, that one is there, and now we got there. And because it's probably touching the material, we want to do that like that. And now this one's off the material. Okay, it's looking, got a bit of dimension there, doesn't it? Excellent. So let's just start to fill in some of the shadows that are sort of low-hanging fruit. All right, shading that we know is there. Okay. Yep. Okay, that's coming along nicely. Okay, let's get that shadow filled in there. Now, we know that the light is going to hit this, right? And so maybe we're going to have some, some texturing there. Okay, good. Is this kind of off topic, but do you have any suggestions or tips on how to avoid carpal tunnel? I wish I did. I think I'm developing it myself. Yeah, look, I had a bit of a situation today because I'd been drawing all day and I had lost my smudge guard. And it wasn't exactly a carpal tunnel problem, but it was a problem. And that is that I got a lot of blistering on my sort of my pinky as I'm pressing hard on the Wacom tablet. Carpal tunnel is one of those things where if you get it, unfortunately, I think you just have to let it heal, you know. I don't think I've gotten it myself yet. I mean, I've had some wrist problems and all that sort of stuff, you really have to. It's sort of like working out, you know, if I can use an analogy there. But I'm really worried. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Jiraj. It's sort of like working out. Like you do have to give your hand time off, and not in that stop it or you go blind sense of time off. I mean, like if your wrist is hurting, you really have to take care of it. You know, you got to maybe go see a physio or a doctor or someone like that and see if there's something like that. Like, you know, you can get sort of braces and stuff. I don't think I've got enough advice to sort of tell you like confidently. But yeah, definitely seek out some expert opinion on that. Really sorry that's happened to you, man. That's it's a real pain in the butt, or the wrist, as it were. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're getting there, aren't we? Can shade this side. Now, do you see how the shading really begins to add a lot of dimension to it, right? And the light's going to be coming down here, so most of this hand is going to be in darkness, which is kind of cool, right? So we can add quite a bit of shadow, and we're going to need to do some of that nice Kirby-esque shading as well. Throw that on there. This bit might throw a lot of shade on this knuckle. These gold bits are going to be shaded on one side, aren't they? And maybe we'll just shade the entire side of the hand there. There we go. And to get a bit of depth on that. There. I feel like I'm falling apart, mainly because I'm freshly home from travels. Oh no! So maybe kind of a doctor I need is a Frankenstein. Yes, yes. Someone who'll steal a hand for you, you know, from a fresh corpse. I get it. Yeah, sometimes I... Oh boy, wouldn't that be cool? Funny, I'm sort of like playing when I can. Well, I haven't actually played for a few nights because I've just been super busy, but Cyberpunk 2077 has got themes of that sort of thing. You know, you can get these enhancements which are sort of amazing. Jason, hi. So just joined. This looks awesome. Are you going to be animating this character? Oof. No, Jason, I'm not. Boy, wouldn't that be fun? Let me zoom out for you, buddy. There you go. Right. What we're doing tonight is shading. And now we do actually have a couple of other things. We've got a background here and we've got some lights as well. So we've got the airbrushing going and everything. And if I sort of like, oh no, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, I hate when this happens. Okay. Yes, I can see why, because it was drawing at the 3D cursor. This is one of those learning moments, isn't it? Where I've really stuffed up. All right, so let's just go with the rake here. All right, this is an easy fix. I'm going to edit mode. Right. I'm going to select a vertex on the layer over here. And I'm going to Shift S, cursor to selected. So now the cursor, oh no, still not done it right. There we go. Shift S, cursor to selected. Is that, no, still not right. Oh, that's right, because we need the inks layer. Right. Let's select something on the inks layer, cursor to selected. Okay, now it's in the right place. Excellent. So now we can go shading. I'm just going to lock off the inks layer because I've just been working on shading, haven't I? Right, I'm going to go Tab A and make that scale to 3D cursor SY0. Hopefully Oh my gosh, that's really off, isn't it? My gosh, what have I done? I think there's an easy fix here because I've been working so hard at it. Okay, I managed to scale it slightly, and I think it's close. It's close. I may have to adjust just a few bits and pieces, but boy, that was a mistake, wasn't it? I was also in perspective camera. Yes, they're going to be offset. Yes, and scaled wrong. So we definitely want it on that level. Now, the other thing is that the display. No. Where is it? Adjustments? No. Strokes. There we go. Stroke depth order is 2D layers. And so the way that the layers are positioned, inks, shading, all that, right? It depends what's on top of other layers, and that's going to show up on top regardless of your point of view. So if I switched around to the other side, the inks layer is going to be above everything else. Now, if I switched that to the other way, which is 3D location, you're going to get a lot of Z fighting because everything is on top of itself. But if I was to move one thing over the other, sorry about the eye-bleeding graphics here, then it depends what the angle of the camera is, and that's going to show up first. So I'm going to keep that in 2D layers because it is a 2D drawing. And I think the best thing I can do right now is to just grab these shapes and adjust them ever so slightly where I need it to be. Okay. Oof, I hope this isn't a lot of cleanup. It doesn't seem to be too bad. There's a few spots, but overall, it's okay. I should have checked that before doing anything else. The hair and the face are probably the most important. So let's just move these bits where they've got to be. Okay. So details should be fixable in Sculpt. Yes, Sculpt is another method. I'm just used to using the edit mode. I mean, Sculpt is more intuitive for some artists. Because I know I'm in Blender, it's sort of like my brain just goes, aha. 3D means that you have to manipulate vertices and not sculpt vertices. I should really get into sculpting. I don't know why I haven't. This is providing some happy accidents, isn't it? Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right, look, that's okay. I think I'll just sort of fix it as I move around here. Now, yes, I do have the proportional tool, fall off tool there. Yes, that's right. This one is supposed to be, and it's going from the center, not the median point. That's what I needed to do. That's right. Okay. That's looking okay. Why don't we continue with the shading here? All right, so we obviously need some cape shade. Am I on the right layer? Shading, yes. Black, yes. Okay, good. So let's just continue to add in some subtle shades. That. Very nice. And these ones are sort of like that. Excellent. This is because this is a sort of a glowy, reflective thing. We have to have some backlighting on that as well. I think we're looking good. Okay. Welcome if anyone's just joined us. I'm going to have to do one of these call-outs, aren't I? Yes. If you like what you see here tonight and you're not already subscribed to my channel, yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can get a few more fans, because I tend to do these live streams now. I try to do these live streams at least once a week, and right now I'm in lockdown here in Sydney, and so doing these of an evening are actually, well, it's either that or Netflix and chill, and honestly, who wants to do that? You're in my recommended again. Oh, wow. Awesome. So the algorithm must have picked it up. Excellent. Let's see what this streaming is saying. Yep. Playback's 261. Yeah, got a few concurrent views, but I think people are just sort of dipping in and out, which is fine. I tend to get a lot of post views, so after the stream's gone live. And of course, this is going to be condensed down into a speed paint of just a few minutes, and so you're going to be able to see this entire process in just minutes. How about that, huh? Technology, right? Wow, showing up in people's recommend. Starting to look good. Starting to look good. Okay, so obviously we need to have this handle in shadow. It's going to be a shadow cast by this hand here. How about that? That's in shadow. And this arm is going to be casting a bit of shading on this area here, as well as this area here. Just want to get a bit of dynamics going on here as well. Yeah, and this fixing will take just a second, the speed paint. Yes, I know. I'll probably edit it completely out. I was like, I'd never made that mistake. What are you talking about? You were seeing things. That's how it's going to go down in the speed paint. And I want this all in shadow as well. There we go. Let's just fix this off a little bit. That's what I love about the proportional fall off tool. It allows so much. Now, here's another neat little trick. Right, if I zoom in here, and I don't like this, and I don't want to adjust too much, I'm just going to circle select by hitting C, and I'm just going to get rid of those ones. I'm going to hit X, dissolve, and that dissolves all of those points. And so if you've got a bunch of superfluous points that you just don't know what to do with, just dissolve them. It's just easier. You have a cleaner shape. All right, we're starting to look pretty good. We are starting to look pretty good. I think I want this to be a little bit more on here. Yep. And because we've got a couple of notches here, go back into draw mode. Let's get that shaded. That's looking good. And then this cape underneath is going to have some interesting shading. It's going to have obviously all of this. Oh, my hurting hand. Instead of trying to redo that, I'm just going to adjust it. By just middle mouse scrolling that adjustment there. Really taking your time with this one, Paul. Oh, well, it's worth it. Don't you think, Kelly? I take time with most of them. I just don't show all the time that it takes. And believe me, there's a lot more, swearing and drinking and crying and stuff like that. But, I'm live, so, show must go on. Yeah, so I'm sort of trying to strike a balance between trying to get this done as quickly as possible for the live stream, but also really doing it as much justice as I can. I really want to, art takes time. There's really no shortcuts if you want something that's really good. As following the contours here. And obviously we're going to have that all in shadow, I think. Up, and yeah. How's that? Close? Close. Up. Let's bring that up there, and let's bring that in here. There's a couple of areas. Just need slight fixing. All right. I sometimes like to fill those shapes because it gives me some extra points to manipulate. Okay. How's that looking? Magical in their speed and quantity. Oh boy, aren't they just, you know? I was actually watching a friend on a drink and draw thing the other day, and they were just using pencil and paper. I can't do pencil and paper anymore. It just absolutely amazed me how they could just sit there and take an idea and then do something just with ink, you know, not even sketch lines, no nothing like that. I need to do construction lines and all that sort of bizzo. Just because, well, I'm not that good. And these guys were just like holding up these pictures that they'd drawn. Oh, we're looking good here. We're looking good here. Now, obviously, we're going to need a nice big chunk of shadow on this part of the cape, but we're going to leave a bit there as well. Let's do that. Let's put this in shadow as well. And this one here as well. There we go. Oh, another bit here. John Romita Jr. too, yes. Oh, Jim Lee. Oh my gosh. That guy has had decades of practice though. If it's any consolation, Jim Lee recently put up, I think it was on his Instagram, a drawing that he'd done when he was 15 years old. And what was good about it was that it wasn't that good. Basically, his point was practice every day and you'll improve. And it's funny how boring that advice sounds, but there's no shortcuts. You know? There's just no shortcuts. Alright, that shading is starting to look really nice. Might just sort of add in a few more. Now, you remember how we had this mask on here, right? Which means we can sort of sometimes go out of bounds if we wanted to. Now, sort of I'm taking a few liberties with. Sort of like get a shiny metal type of look. Yeah. Masters always look amazing. Okay, so that's the shading. Let's bring back that lighting and let's bring back that background. I think we're getting there. I'm just going to select this background. Let's just go to object mode. Background, clouds. We can bring down the opacity of those clouds so we can get a nice variance. You know, we can get very subtle looking backgrounds if we needed to. Starting to look good. Starting to look very, very good. Now, highlights. Highlights are interesting because I don't like to do... I like to have this lighting situation on stuff that's going to be softer. So I don't think I'll be putting highlights on, say, the cloth stuff. But anything metallic is probably going to have some sort of a sharp sheen to it, as well as hair. And so if we wanted really good control, we could put it on the shading because it's set to regular with an opacity. But okay, also... Is that subtle? No, we'll attack that later. But if you want to control it separately, you put it on a separate layer. All right, call this highlights. There we go. And we'll drop that opacity down. It has to be dropped down quite low. And what we're going to be doing is still the same trick, but instead of black, let's just click on that swatch, right up, value 100% to white. Let's bring that white into our palette as well. Okay, so to give you some idea of where highlights should go, we can start with the hair, right? Now, if we want to do, something kind of cool, we can use this solid stroke, and we have a nice thick radius, and we can just sort of brush these in so they look painted. Again, we're going to have to turn off that lighting, turn off that background. So we sort of have to remember where that lighting is. And this will give us nice sort of streak effects if we needed it, right? Because we've got pressure sensitivity on, well, I do, right? But if you wanted to some sort of an anime type of thing, I'll show you how to do that in a second. Right, so you see that, how I'm going outside of the lines there, right? Obviously, we need to enable that mask and put in mask, and that will just cut it out from there. Right? And so now we just want to throw in some streak highlights there. Now, if you wanted to do chunks like in an anime, then you would go to solid fill and you would do this. Right? With the mouse completely down and sort of do this sort of thing, right? And sometimes that looks pretty good. Actually, you know what? I think I might stick with the shape here. There's going to be obviously another sheen here. Right? And if you follow your contouring, that's why I spent a lot of time on the contouring and the inks, right? You're going to get something that looks very consistent. Right, so here I might just erase these because I just wanted to use that as an example. And bring in, okay, so I'm going to go, whoop, sort of wobbly type of highlight, like that maybe. And, you can sort of take a few liberties with it. Right, and the hair is always going to have some extra bits of sheen. And because everything's working on a single layer with overlap, should be right. It was a bit too messy. Okay, we're looking better here. I don't like some of those, so I'm just going to hit Control, erase, and maybe we'll even edit this a little bit. Sorry, got my head in my mouth. Okay. All right. If you're just joining me, hi, welcome. I'm working on the effects, and why don't we get that pen out of my mouth? I'm working on the effects and highlights and all that sort of stuff at the moment for this really awesome bit of commission. A character called Anomander Rake from the Malazan Empire. It's a fantasy series recommended by a very generous Patreon supporter. Yeah. I've had some fantastic exchanges with Kelly about comics and the like. You know what? I'm going to get rid of that shadow. I'm going to redo that one. Probably it's going to be here. Right. Okay. It's looking a lot more, yes, definitely a lot more depth. Now, obviously, there's going to be some highlights here. And I like to reference things like, no, that's dark. We want light. References such as Castlevania. Has anyone seen the current series? I have to catch up on that one, unfortunately. But they sort of have these big, almost not, shall we say, correct type of highlights, which is really, really interesting. Add that. Add this highlight here. Maybe a little bit of a highlight there. Yeah, it's looking good. A bit there. Like that. All right. Everyone still being able to see me? I hope so. Right, so now I want these sort of to be a bit dull metal. Okay, obviously this is going to be a bit shinier, and this might get a bit of a sheen as well, just right on the edge there. But I kind of want this to be a little bit more. Okay, now this is where I'm going to be a little bit cleverer. I'm going to go with solid stroke, and I'm going to use a color from the palette instead of just a straight white. I'm just going to paint in these highlights. Right. Now you'll see that this is subtly different because it's not 100% white. It's more of a browny color. And so this is actually going to produce a much warmer type of a look. There we go. Now on the gold, I might take the gold color and just sort of brighten that up a little bit and see what happens. It's looking okay. Let's go brighter still, shall we? Add that. Okay, let's see what happens. Ah, there we go. Now we've got some interesting coloring, right? And this is what I was talking about before. Like, the cheat is just using black and white, but if you use colors that are in your palette, you can actually get some much nicer effects. All right. Are people still able to chat? Let me see here. What's going on with my rates over here? Doesn't seem to be moving a lot. I've got a good set of concurrent viewers. I'm just going to put a test here. Test. Yep. Okay. Let's get rid of the you. Nope, not you. No. What an eraser. Bang. 1, 2. There we go. Okay. And let's begin to... Yeah. Okay. Ah, there we go. Still good. Cool. Just worried there for a second because I was like, oh man, I hope I haven't crashed. The other day, it was like Russia came up and everyone was typing in Russian. I was like, uh-oh, do I have some bots? Which was really, Not something I really wanted to automatically jump to that conclusion. Okay. Look, we're looking pretty good here. Just doing a quick photo shoot next room. Back in 10. Oh, cool, man. Yes, please do. Oh, hello. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain buffering. Hello, what's going on now? Okay. Apologizing for the buffering here. Now, because I've done some really nice... you know what? I'm just going to erase them and do this again. It's always good to try to draw them back. Bang. There we go. Our stream is back. Sorry about the buffering, guys. Should have a very nice, healthy feed. Let's draw that in there. Because it's going to be a point of high contrast, if I do a little highlight on that and the edge there, now it looks like there's a bit of a, what's it called? Bit of an etch, right? Nah, just one. All right. We're looking good here. We're looking good. I don't really want to do too much more on the highlights. So what I want to do now, let's bring back that lighting. Let's bring back that background. How are we looking here? We're looking good. We are looking really good. Now I want to do something really fun. I want to... Oh, come on. Right when I've got to do something fun... Man, it goes from no data to excellent connection. All right, now that I've got an excellent connection, let's say this at a time. I'm going to do something fun, and that is I'm going to add some really cool lightning effects here. Now I can do this in a couple of ways, and it depends on if the effects have glow and the modifiers have noise. Yep, okay, cool. Oh my gosh. Is this going to keep lagging tonight? I don't know why. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm just going to disconnect and reconnect. Okay. Should be getting a better connection soon. Let's see if I turn off. Damn. Okay, we're going to finish up with this effect, so I'm going to continue to record here. I think I really want to wait till I get a good connection. Come on. Okay. Holler if you can hear me, because I really want a strong connection here to make sure I can be heard. Why do I have a poor connection? What's going on? Is everyone online? Is that it? Analytics, stream health. That's what I wanted to see. And, okay. My software's streaming okay. Is it YouTube? Damn it. Really hope this is recording, guys. I really, really do, because this next bit is going to be so much fun. What I want to do, object, going to, we all want to be heard deep. Yes. Oh my gosh. I really hope it's not buffering too badly where you guys are. I'm waiting for a strong... There we go. Okay, we're back on excellent connection. Let's hope it stays here. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Shift S, cursor to selected. No, come on. Select that. Shift S, cursor to... There we go. Right. So we know that we're on that layer there. Excellent. I'm going to add another grease pencil object. Let's go Shift A, grease pencil, blank. It's good, bro. Carry on. Thanks, Mohammed. Awesome. Okay, so now that we're in grease pencil, we've got a new grease pencil. I'm going to call this lightning. Right. Now we're going to add a new layer. Give that at. And we're obviously going to need a material. I think we're going to need, because I tend to do these in just very simple, like a solid stroke and solid fill. So I'm going to add those two materials there. I went to a store so I actually missed the buffering played it well. When it's buffering, go to a store. Oh boy, that's cool. All right, so we've got the lightning here. And let's go into draw mode here. This is the bit that I really, really like to do. And I might start, I think I've got to paint in, I think I've got to do it in a bit of a bluish tone first, right? And so now we're going to draw lightning. And this is where we can get a bit messy, right? So the lightning is going to be sort of flaring off this sword, coming out, and maybe some lightning off the eyes. What do we reckon? Yeah. So let's just start by okay. First off, we don't want stabilized stroke. Secondly, we want a nice thick stroke. So thicker. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Right. Just jagged lines. Right. Let's go thicker still. Wonder what 200 would look like. It's still not that thick, is it? Okay. Right. Okay, so we're going to draw some lightning in here, right? Now, just to... Don't know how I stumbled onto this. I'm so hooked onto it even during work. I hope no one looks. Oh, okay. Yeah, because you came in on the fun bit, Mohammed. This is the bit that I really love to do. This is like all the effects and funky stuff. Now, drawing lightning means that you sort of have sort of thick main lightning bolts, and then a lot of thin little wires. Now, this is where the pressure sensitivity really comes into play. Now, if you really want to see how this is going to look, I'm going to do something really cool here. I'm just going to save my work. Go into object mode. And on the lightning thing, this is why I did it as a separate one. Okay? I'm going to go add effect. And I'm going to go glow. No, is it glow? Add effect. Yes, it's glow. Right. Blend mode, add, and I think we need to be in viewport shading. Yes, that's right. Okay, so already we can start to see how that glow is working. I'll zoom in here so you guys can really see here. Let's bump those samples up. Do we go glow under? No, we do the glow over. We drop the threshold right down, so anything at all is going to be that. Ah, right. Okay, so it's going to, if we do the glow color as white, then we can bump up the size of the glow, right? That's really good. So luminance, color. Now, if I just select the color, if I do this, then that color is going to glow, but we don't get that wonderful white lightning. So we've got to stick to luminance, I believe. If we go regular, no, we need to have that as add. I think I've got to do this the opposite. I think I have to have the coloring of the lightning white and the glow has to be blue. Is that correct? Yeah, okay, so we've got the glow that's blue. Excellent. Now the lightning, we need to make that white. So let's go into edit mode, select everything, go into vertex paint mode, select white. Let's give it a nice fat radius here. And let's just, oh boy, yes, we're just going to paint everything white there. Okay, is this going to work? Let's go back into object mode. Okay, I've got a blue glow there. Go regular, there we go, regular. If we go glow under, that means the white goes on top. So this means we can do a bit of a blur on this as well. So we go add effect, blur. We put the blur first, right? Let's bump those samples up and let's make it a nice tight blur, like a 25. No, we don't want to use depth of field. Is that going to make it a lot cooler? Glow over, don't we? Interesting. Usually it's the way I get the effect. Let's drop that down. I think this needs to be a tight... Yeah, there we go. See that? All right, yes. No, I had it right the first time. I'm going to do a nice tight glow. Right, because see how the white is doing this sort of thing? So if we take off that blur, we'll keep the blur on. Someone asked if you were going to animate it a while back. I mean, you probably could pull off like a pretty cheap movement of line work and hair with... Probably could. Here's the problem, Jiraj. I would have to set it up to animate, so I'd put the hair on a separate, either separate grease pencil object or a separate layer that I then add a modifier to. But yes, that is definitely possible. All right, so first off, what I need to do is reverse what I did here. So let's go into edit mode, draw, and let's give this a nice electric blue. There we go. And now we'll vertex paint. There we go. Electric blue, where are we? There we are, electric blue, right? So now we can vertex paint all of that, nice and tight. There we go. Right, and now we change that glow color to white. Huh. Damn, this is making me a liar. If we go add, it's looking better. Should we add a second glow here? Like the tips of the movement mobile games have an avatar. Yes, absolutely. Let's go with another glow. Let's keep this one. Let's go glow under for this one. Starting to look very 1980s, right? That's looking alright. What if we added a colorize effect on top? That way we can control the color first. Aha. There we go. Custom white factor. We can make it a nice bright glow. There we go. Then we blur it. Yes. Then we glow it. And with the glow color should that be an electric blue? Let's give it a bit of a blue there. Okay, cool. This one has to be a nice tight one. There we go. And then this one, glow under, can be nice and wide. So there we go. Right. Now, even if we've got all those effects, right, if you turn on the use lights on the layer, yes. Yes, it is using lights. So if we do bring that light in, ooh, you're right. Yes, it does. Okay. So if we have those lights on, and we turn that secondary glow off, then it's really something. We don't need it so powerful, although it's looking pretty damn good. Look at that. Hey, look at that. Now, with all those effects on, right, go back to this thing here. Let's call this lightning. There we go. Save that. We can go back to draw mode, right? And we can continue to draw in lightning crackles wherever we want. Right, so we can do these nice little lines here, but I'm going to make them in white. And we can drop that radius to something even smaller. And now it's just a matter of just getting messy, you know? There we go. Now, one thing I wanted to try, noise. Yes, we could probably use some noise. One thing I wanted to try, okay, is if I make this one on a 3D location, right, and I move this backwards and forwards, what if I gave this another layer, right? Or, no, not another layer. What am I doing? What am I doing here? Let's unlock this. Go into edit mode. And let's pull this back and around. Would this actually disappear behind? Let's see now. That goes on top. See, this is something I've wanted to try for a long time. Yes. Look at that. Now we go that. How about that? Yeah, but why not just use noise? Because I like to draw lightning, because I like those 80s lightning effects, and they all hand-drawn and all that sort of stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this lightning around the back of the sword, right? And this means that we're going to get some really interesting 3D-ness, I guess, right? Where we have these light. Look at that. See that lightning sort of arcing around there? And now we can just do things like scaling it up. Now this is going to be conflicting with the hair. So there we go, right? How's that? How cool is that? So cool. And let's bring that back. Let's have this lightning shooting from here. Now I can sort of make that fatter. Yep. Now I can begin to really play around. You can even just duplicate stuff like that. Rotate it. Have it shooting. Even just do some extruding here. To make it look like it's lightning that's sort of coming out at us. Right? Oh no, I wasn't trying to criticize you. Oh no. No. Noise is really good, but I really love to paint lightning, just because I can just get these wonderful controls on it. Yeah. No offense taken, man. Because I don't know if many of you seen those cheesy 80s movies. I just absolutely love the hand-drawn, hand-animated lightning that you sort of see in those things, right? So here we go. We've got a nice sword lightning effect. Sort of popping out from this sword. Right. Okay, how's that? Yeah? Cool glow. Yes, it is. Should I add some to his eyes? I mean, would this be overkill if I did some on his eyes? Let's give it a shot, eh? What am I doing here? Let's go. If I went, okay, that's a solid stroke, solid fill. Right, let's go. Ooh, maybe that's a bit much. Maybe that's a bit much. Streaming directly via OBS Studio. Yes. Yes, the way I stream is basically I've set it up with, okay, so YouTube does the go live. I take the code and I put it in my streaming settings for sorry, just doing some lightning shooting out of his eyes here. Streaming settings on OBS, and that means that when I stream, I have to turn on OBS, and then once that's going, I get a go live on YouTube. And yeah, then it all kind of works. But I'm fairly new at this, so yeah, I'm sort of learning as I go. Check that out. How glowy are his eyes? Oh, this is crazy. Oh man, I think I need to tone this down ever so slightly. Otherwise, we're gonna get really nuts. I can feel the power of it really feeling me to make it drags lightning out of the clouds with this sword. Yes, you can. Let's bring that background in, eh? And, oh man. Okay, so let me just rotate around that. Okay, this is what's going on in 3D. And this is what I really love about painting in Blender. Now, I think I might do a test render. Let's have a look here. F12. I really like that. I thought I'd be I'm gonna go 200% here. Right. F12. Can you all see that? Can you all see that? What do you think? Should we do a little bit of compositing before I call it a night? I think I've been going on a little bit longer, but it's been really good. Let's do a little bit of compositing effects. Sick. Yes, I think so too. All right. Should I use the compositing? Yeah, look, I'll use this compositing window just because output viewer. This way we can see what we're doing as we do it. Good job on the streaming. Pretty smooth going. Oh, thanks, man. I had a bit of a bump a little while ago. Like, not a bump. Hello. What's this mix? Oh, that's the background, isn't it? Yes, we don't need you anymore, do we? All right, let's get that reroute node in. Bang. Bang. Out. Out. There we go. Okay, let's just move that over to the side there. So this is our render. So this is the compositing stage. Okay, so I've done my illustration. I can do a few things still with this illustration, right? First off, I'm just going to exit out of here and just go back into 2D animation just to show you what is possible. Let's just go object mode, rake. All right. And on the inks, what I'm going to do, okay, I want to use lights. Let's undo that. Let's not do masks. Do keyframes. Adjustments? Yeah, adjustments, right? Under adjustments. Also, I don't know how much true it is, but I heard it is best to use image editor windows instead of backdrop. I tend to like to, For the live stream, I just want to show you the compositor so you can sort of see it in real time. But yes, when I'm working, I definitely use the image editor and the compositor in a separate screen. That's like how I like to use it. Trust me, for showmanship, the compositor looks awesome. Anyway, what was I doing? Yes, stroke thickness. So I can increase the thickness of those strokes and give them a, oh, look at that heft, right? See how that's looking a little bit more fuller, right? I can even tint the color. So I'm just going to bring up this tint to something in the sort of a bluish, dark blue. And then let's bring up that factor. Actually, maybe not. I think it needs to stay in the grays. Could probably just lighten it up a little bit. Maybe if we went into the browns, that could be interesting, right? Factor, a bit reddish. Okay, just a touch. Okay, oof, my computer's chugging. I can hear it. Why is it better though? It's a preference. It's just a preference, man. Okay, so let's go. That's the image editor, right? That's the render right there. I'm gonna go into compositor here, right? Because now what I can do is I can actually show in one screen. I can show you the nodes that I'm using, as well as the image that's being composited. Right now, this is where you definitely need that viewer node. So this extra node here, that's the viewer, but the composite is what ends up working. All right, so what do I want to do here? Well, let's start with the usual color balance, right? This node here allows us to do a couple of really cool things. Now, the computer's not chugging anymore. So what we can do is we can lift, drop, so we can get our darks darker, right? Or lights, or it sort of like brings in a bit of contrast there. Drop the gamma a little bit and maybe up the gain. The gain is going to make those glows really glow, but it's also going to wash out a lot of the subtle kind of lighting on some of these areas around here. But what we can do is we can begin to push the blues, right? Or give this a bit of a, you know, a different type of a feel. Like we can, under the lift, we can warm that up, right? And now if you want to see what that sort of looks like with and without, we can drop the factor, right? So this is without. This is a straight render right here. And then we can bring in that color correction. Okay. And you can see how that's really affected. So like if it's just too much, we can drop that back a little bit. Okay. So that's just a quick and dirty color correction right there. I'm also going to add another filter. Let's go with the glare. We'll set it to fog glow. This is going to add an extra glow to everything. I like this one. This one really, we got to drop the threshold right down. Okay. Hello and good day to you all. Looks really nice. Thanks, Maxwork. Why is it better? Mute, unmute. Mute, unmute. Something happened with my audio. Right now, the threshold is basically the threshold at 0 is it's a value system, right? So if I was to bring in, let's bring in a color ramp here, just an example, right? This is a low value. This is a high value, right? Low is black, high is white. Threshold 0 corresponds to the blacks, and threshold 1, or threshold highest, corresponds to the whites. Okay. And so if we drop the threshold to 0 and then we just begin to increase it ever so slightly, what happens is that you're telling it only affect colors above this value, right? And 1 is white. And so anything under 1 is sort of like in this gray range, right? And so you can get some nice glows in stuff like here and here. We can drop the threshold and it gets a little bit brighter. Let's get rid of this color ramp here. Okay, we can get a nice high glow, which means it's much more high fidelity, as it were. And what I really like about that is we're starting to see some of those subtle goldy glows there, right? Oh, I mean mute unmute node to show before after. Ah, yes, I see what you mean. Let's see, can we do a mute unmute? Yes, it's M, isn't it? Mute. Unmute. Well, how about that, Gerard? You taught me something today. Mute. Unmute. I like it. All right, I'm going to be doing that a lot now. Thanks for the tip. Okay, so that glare is looking really nice. Now, I want to get some, there's a nice subtleness going, I think, around the hands and the sword, right? And so this is where I'm going to go back into my 2D animation, exit here, into my 3D, and I think I'm going to bring in my extra so I can see my my wonderful lighting here. And I'm going to take this light here, Shift D, duplicate it, and bring it down here. Now this one, I might make this a nice warm tone, right? So this is going to give us a nice kind of an airbrushy type of feel around here, but we can drop the power down a little bit as well, so we can get some different type of effecting there. Actually, you know what? At 200, that actually looks really nice. Ah, that looks pretty good, nice and close. And why don't we put one right here on the sword? It's making the lightning really obscure the sword there. So yeah, so now that I've got that light there, that's looking quite nice. Yeah, that's gonna really wash everything out. But see, this lighting then acts like an airbrush, right? So we can do subtle things like add a bit of a extra glow to some areas like this. Okay, come on, where are we? There we are. Right. Okay. And let's do another render. Right. And let's go back into compositing. And look, maybe that was a little much. Where is it a little much? Okay, maybe not. Oh, now this is just a suggestion, but maybe duplicate texture background and get a little bit in the foreground. Ah, that's what I didn't do. I didn't do any texturing. Maybe I should do this as an example. Yeah, look, I'm going to do this as an example, okay, Jiraj, but like, might work, it might not. Let's go back to 2D animation. I'm going to make, okay, let's go to Rake, and let's make a new material, okay? What the material is going to be, I'm going to make it a new slot by hitting this plus. Get the solid in here, right? It has to be a solid fill. I'm going to duplicate this by hitting this 3 over here, and I'm going to call this half, again with the caps lock, half tone, right? And now what we're going to do is under fill, change it to texture. I know you meant the cloud brushes, but this is way cooler. Trust me on this. I'm going to go open, and we want to do, I'm going to have to go up to texture library, comics. I've got a halftone here. There we go, halftone, right? Scale. Let's go 0.1, and it has to be quite small. 0.1, 0.1. Right, not clip image. This is going to duplicate. Trust you, master. Yes, so you should. All right, so we've got the texture, got the base color. I think I'm gonna make the base color white or black. What works? Why doesn't this not show? Blend, blend. let's leave it on 0.5 for now, right? Okay. Let's see if this works. Just going to take off the background, take off the lighting, even take off the lightning, okay? Just so that we can see the rake over here. And let's go to the shadows, unlock that. All right. Going to hit Tab to go into edit mode. Select all. All right, this is the only one unlocked. Yes, good. In my materials, going to select halftone and assign. Check out what happened. Now my halftone texture is overriding that material. And so now what we want to do is we want to blend that material, right? So we can just get ever so slightly a bit of halftone in there, right? Maybe 0.9 there. And we can maybe even make it even finer. Oh no, that's huge. 0.05, 0.05. Maybe that's a bit too subtle. Yeah, could be a bit too subtle. Let's go 0.08. 0.08. All right. Is that still a bit too subtle? Maybe it is. 0.08, 0.08. There we go. All right. Okay, so we've got blend. Settings. No, we won't do that. And we can also rotate it, right? So we can rotate that, say, 30 degrees or even 60, I think might work really nice. Okay. Yeah. All right. So with that subtle, let's go 0.06, 0.06, so that we can see some of those dots. No, is that too fine? No, 0.09. We want to see the dots in our render. All right? Let's do another render here. Okay. Now, check it out. We've got the shadows textured, right? That's looking a lot more comic booky. Kelly, if you're still there, are you happy with that? Should I stick with the halftone? Right, now I know that this is a little bit too much. So we're going to drop that back a little bit. All right. Okay, that's looking good. And I think the thickness on this line is looking good. Man, I still don't get the blend modes in general. I saw your halftone vid and how to use it, but I still don't fully understand how it works, or rather how to use them. Yeah, look, texture overrides everything. So yeah, you got to be really judicious with it, because what we could do is, okay, so this is the shading layer. It's currently on regular. If we up that opacity, that's at 100%, right? If we set that to multiply, it's now going to multiply the colors underneath. And so now when we drop that opacity back, we get a bit of that halftone in the shading, right? But still, for my money, I mean, even hard light, yeah, still for my money, regular and just sort of dropping that back ever so slightly, it sort of works a bit, the way you sort of expect. We can even use lights, right? So when we bring those lights in, the lights will actually texture that shading. Highlights is using lights, but maybe if we... No, we need to use lights on that. Yes, we do. Right, where was I? Inks, that's right. Inks, stroke thickness is just a little too thick, so we're going to drop that. Oh, hello. Is that even doing anything? Oop. Etched it right away. 1, 2, 3. Maybe just a little bit. Now we're looking like a comic book. Bring back the lightning. Bring back the background. Lightning here. We need to go in object mode. Lightning. If we bring that back and maybe make it a little bit transparent. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? All right. Guys, I think I think we're there. All right. There's our render. What do you guys think? Are we there? Sound off. Oh, now I get 21 concurrent viewers. Maybe I should come on later. All right. If you guys can see this, let me know what you think. This is the finished piece. I really like it. You know, we've added effects, we've added some halftone, we've done a little compositing on it, we've added some compositing effects. This is feeling good. Yeah, I guess we are. I just don't want this to end. Sorry, I missed that part. But the background is a Blender brush or in importer. It is a Blender texture brush. Guillermo, I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you before I leave. Okay, I'm going to save this. Oh, I'm not allowed to show that. I'll have to cut that out of the live stream. Okay, going to go. Rake final.png. Okay, saving that. Next thing to animate them. Yeah, animate. Right. Let me just go into view here, right? That is actually a texture brush, Guillermo. If I select the background, and I'm just going to go into draw mode, right? See these brushes here? You can download them for free. The way you do that is go preferences, and make sure that your object grease pencil tools is enabled. And once that's enabled, once you're in draw mode, you go over to the brush settings in your active tool and you go download and import texture brush pack. The preset brush pack that has been available since like 2.9. Yes, that's correct. It downloads using the tools, right? So you sort of have to know what you're doing. But check that out. Even in 3D, it just looks freaking amazing. Right, and I could just go to town with that lightning too. I can sort of really, bring that lightning back and draw it around him and stuff like that if I wanted to. But I'm really liking that. It's got a real Thor vibe to it, and fingers crossed, Kelly's going to be happy with it. So, guys, I'm going to have to end the live stream here because it's 11:45. Boy, I think I've been going for 2 hours, but it was worth it. It was worth it. Thank you guys for hanging around. I'm going to be putting all this into a Speedpaint, editing this tomorrow, and watch out for that when it finally goes live. You're going to be seeing all of this stuff compressed down. And as soon as I cancel this, stop this live stream, it'll buffer and, not buffer, it'll archive, and you'll be able to go back and watch any part that you missed if that's what you want to do. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to exit now. You're welcome, Gerard. Thank you all for watching. It's always fun interacting with you guys. Bye, guys.